What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Sportsnut, aka Akatunde, and we're talking. Ballou High School has made national news, and me being from D.C., I've seen a lot of people talking about this, a lot of YouTubers. So I just wanted to weigh in since I'm from D.C. and I know kids who've gone to this school, kids who go to this school. I've attended sporting events at this school. You know, I know people from the neighborhoods that surround the school. You know, look, I think we should start off by, seeing what type of neighborhood this is around, okay? So this is the type of neighborhood where, people get killed, okay? Ballou students, high school students shot. Just type that in. And we see a lot of different incidents of students being shot. Okay? It's not uncommon for somebody to get shot in the neighborhood around the school. So the kids, and a lot of the little kids from those neighborhoods, they're little thugs in training, little hoodlums. Like, that's one reason why I put this video on this channel, because I know I'm going to have to tell the truth to black people. And since I'm telling the truth to black people, I wanted it to be on this channel, the Akatunde County Experience channel, so that if they flag it, because black people get mad, they do little bitch ass shit like if you don't tell them everything's fine in the neighborhood and everything's gravy and it's just all good, they like try to silence you and flag you and shit. So I put this on this channel because it's not one of the videos where I can tell black people everything's just wonderful. Yay. It's not. Meet some of these kids. You run into a pack of these kids that go to Ballou. Girls or boys. This is the thing about the girls are worse than the boys. You be a woman and run into a pack of these girls that go to Ballou. So since I can't tell you, everything's wonderful, they just hating on Ballou. Since I can't say that, I put that on this channel. Okay, so everyday violence, gunfire in their DC schools. On May 6th, just after 9 a.m., gunmen in Southeast D.C. opened fire on people standing near a bus stop on Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue. And of course, Ballou is right off of Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue. And of course, Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue is one of the most violent places in the city. And I know Martin Luther King stood for nonviolence and all that crap, but Martin Luther King Avenue is one of the most violent places in the Maryland, D.C., Virginia, DMV metropolitan area. You're more likely to encounter violence standing on Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue than any other place in the state of Maryland, Virginia, and D.C. I mean, you might got Jackson, Ward, Churchill, different places in Richmond that are comparable, maybe Drew Hill, maybe certain places east Baltimore and Baltimore, maybe certain places in PG County, but you're just as likely on Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue in Southeast DC to encounter violence anywhere else in that tri-state or if you want to consider DC a state area. Okay? So don't think about, oh, Martin Luther King stood for, no. It's a very violent place. Okay? You run into a pack of girls from here. You have had a bad day. Your day was, the day you ran into these girls, hey, what happened that day? That was a bad day, man. Okay? You had a bad day that day. All right? Nearby Ballou and Imagine Southeast Public Charter School were put on lockdown as police searched for suspects. In April, a man was shot and killed steps away from Ludlow Taylor. Okay, so they're going to, that's in Northeast. I used to live around Ludlow Taylor. So they're basically talking about it's a lot of crime. They have a shot spotter. A thing that, okay, it's a triangulation. It tells if a gun is fired in that area, they can locate the gun fire to within feet of where it was fired and send cops there. Okay, they call shot spotters. It's technology. So a shot spotter picked up 336 incidents of gunfire in D.C. during the school day. Okay? And this is in 2011 and 12. So we're fast forward, we're 5 years later. Things are, worse. Okay? More than half of these incidents occurred within 1,000 feet of a public school. Okay? So, these are the schools, and it's a lot of shootings. This is Ballou down here. Ballou's down here. You got two high schools in Southeast, two public high schools. You got Anacostia and you got Ballou. Two public high schools. So as you can see, a lot of shooting. A lot of shooting going on over here on the south side. Then you got, this is east of the river. All this is basically the same to some degree. All this where this river is, this Anacostia River, you see that river right here? All this east of that is pretty much the same. East of the river. Whether it's southeast or northeast. Okay? Now it gets a little worse as you go south, but the difference is pretty much negligible. Okay? So this is the neighborhood you're dealing with. These kids are not coming from Mayberry and these kids are living in a rough neighborhood, and they are trying to be tough because, and when this first came out, that Ballou High School seniors all accepted to college, like anybody from the city would have been like, like what? But that's how they take these national stories, and then they and these things catch fire. Okay? So apparently what ended up happening, okay. Former teachers blew the whistle on questionable grading standards at a D.C. high school. So former teachers, okay? The former Ballou High School teachers said employees were pressured to pass students and children were allowed to graduate despite missing months of school. Now, I went to D.C. public schools, and I can remember in the 9th grade, we have junior highs here. Back then, it wasn't middle schools, it was junior highs. The junior highs fed into the high schools. So what would happen was, end of the year, all year it would be a social setting. School, God bless the teachers. They were saints to put up with us and the way we behaved. You know, like we behaved like little animals.
Invented a portable film projector.
You know,
he knew visual communication.
We behaved like little animals, little monkeys, and we didn't know no better. Okay, just like little monkeys, disrespectful. You know, just wow, off the chain. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the school year, they passed 90% of the people. Very rarely did somebody stay back. Very rarely did somebody stay back. Okay? Very rarely. So,
Tonight, they're talking with us. That's up first tonight. Let's get started. They used to teach at D.C.'s Ballou High. They say they were pressured to pass students, and yes, children graduated despite missing months of school. The pair tried to alert city leaders about the problem, but they say nothing happened.
Okay. So is this hating?
Here's Michael Quander with a story that's new tonight.
The world is tough, and they're not prepared.
They're not ready to go.
They're not prepared.
Morgan Williams and Monica Brokenborough called these Ballou High School their babies.
To see that they are, set up to fail is just heartbreaking.
It hurts because this day of celebration, this graduation, feels very different now than what it appeared.
Just see the student's name on this program, I know it's a fact that this student did not pass my actual course.
A joint report from NPR and WAMU Radio revealed students were given diplomas who did not meet graduation requirements.
It was a culture within the school set by administration.
Teachers say they felt pressured from what they called unrealistic evaluations for things like student attendance and a certain percentage of passing grades. If teachers didn't score well, they could have lost their jobs. So 10 teachers took their concerns to DCPS officials the day after this graduation. They followed up with this email and copied several city government and school leaders.
A lot of people did have knowledge of what was going on, and I did not receive a single response from anybody.
Nearly 6 months later, the mayor, DCPS chancellor, and the city council have agreed to look into these allegations, but the teachers say that for some students, it may be a little too late. Would you say that the school district failed these kids?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Reporting in Southeast Washington, Michael Quander, WUSA 9.
Now, the whistleblowers say they don't want the students to be punished because of the allegations, but they do want those in charge to be held accountable.
Okay. So you had kids who missed 90 days. Half of the kids missed 90 days they graduated. Just to give you an inkling, 90 days. There's 181 days in the school day year at D.C. public school. 90 days. Half of the kids miss 90 days. Now, these kids are going through a lot at home. Some of these kids their mother's on crack, mother's on drugs, mother neighborhood, crack whore, mother alcoholic, mother party girl, father, of course. Man, they say 72% of black kids don't have fathers in their lives, right? Or in the home. In neighborhoods like this, where Ballou is, okay? Make that 90. This whole 70%, that be shit that's like the national average. That's like every jurisdiction across the country. When you talking about Baltimore, Camden, Philly, Richmond, D.C., Norfolk, bad news, talking about, you know what I'm saying? You talking about Atlanta. You talking about these places where the high black populations, high low income populations. Now you're talking about 90%. So that whole thing where people, 70% of black kids don't have, that's across the board. You talking about Southeast DC? You know, 90. The community is women and children and teenagers, okay? And they just redid Ballou. Looks great. But yeah, these little dudes are wannabe thugs, real thugs, and killers. So even if you run into a good kid, a kid that's not a thug, he's a wannabe thug. Okay? All right? So you blessed enough not to run into one of the thugs. The nigga you just ran into wants to be a thug. And a lot of times that's even worse than running into a real thug. Okay? Because a real thug probably ain't got time for you. Wannabe thugs trying to prove something. And these girls, they're all like, grown. They know it all. Okay? All right? So you gotta be careful when that you know what you're dealing with, okay? And look at Michelle Obama dancing like everything all good. Everything ain't all fucking good. Okay? This happened. This is what's gonna happen now. Now people are gonna hope and pray that this is Ballou. What's gonna happen now is what really should happen, and I hope it does, because Ballou doesn't deserve to be isolated like this, as if it's just them. When I was in school, this was going on. They just pass kids, and if you don't pass these kids, you're gonna have a bunch of 20-year-olds in fucking ninth grade and shit. And that's gonna create a problem when you got 15-year-olds or 14-year-olds coming into your school in class with 20-year-olds. So it's good to move these kids along. Don't get me wrong, just to let these kids pass them. But to graduate should be an honor. To walk across that stage should be an honor. I don't mind them passing them kids, because look, I've been to these schools, man. If you don't pass these kids, some of them can't read, missed 90 days. One kid graduated, missed 150 days. That means he went to school 30 days and graduated. Okay? When you don't, listen, and that's why this is going on this channel, because I can't tell you niggas that everything's all good. And I know y'all gonna want to flag this and shit and complain and bitch and moan about this video. I'm sorry. But yeah, I live in Washington, D.C. I run into these kids, man. Are they good kids? Yeah, definitely. And even the thugs, they're good kids. Just when you run into them, you're not going to feel like it. The experience you have with them, you're not going to feel like that they was a good kid. But yeah, because somebody who they respect or fear say, yeah, that's a good kid. Or somebody who has authority over them, yeah. But you not having any authority over them or them not respecting you, yeah, you're going to have a horrible experience running into one of these kids. But yeah, can the coach who can control whether they play or not, how much time they get, or the neighborhood thug that'll blow their head off if they get out of line, or, you know what I'm saying, their mother, or, the teacher that can suspend them, yeah, I mean, yeah. It's different, yeah. It's certain people that they're great kids around that can see, that they're gonna show that side of them. But your monkey ass, when it's a pack of them and it's getting dark and they looking for trouble, you not gonna think they're a good kid. Okay? And Michelle Obama come here for 45 minutes and meet a handful of selected kids that the school selected to be in the classroom. They probably made an all-star team, all-star class, and put it together so when Michelle showed up. Oh, those kids there, so yeah, of course, Michelle, these kids are great. What's the problem? They're giving these kids a bad rap. and they locked down, they suspended all the other kids or corralled all the bad kids and put them in the gym and suspended a bunch of other kids and beefed up security that day. And Michelle showed up for 45 minutes and does the Dougie and says, "Oh man, these kids are getting a bad rap over here, man. Nothing to see over here." Yeah, of course. But you on monkey ass, you on a bus, 3 o'clock, between 3 and 5 o'clock or 3 and 6 o'clock, you're not gonna have a good experience. Okay? Your experience is gonna be different. Okay? All right? Yeah, are there good kids there that they can get together and find some 7 or 8 great kids that come to school every day wanting to learn and aren't disrupted by the other students that make it almost impossible to learn? Because that's what nobody wants to talk about. A few handful of badass kids can make it impossible for the other kids to learn in class. Peer pressure. Man, this shit's stupid, man. Making fun of the kids who are smart, the kids who want, and that's a common thing in the black community. If you show any acumen or any kind of, curiosity about learning, you're deemed as acting white, or you're deemed as a lame or fuckboy. And nobody wants to be that, because then you become prey to food and whatnot. You become food. So kids don't want to be seen as somebody that's inquisitive and learning and wants to learn and wants to study and wants to excel. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to have a lot of that. So it's going to be hard for the kids that are there to learn. So yeah. But could you find some kids that are good? Yeah. But yeah, every school in Washington D.C., Baltimore. Remember, I just showed you the Baltimore. Remember, I just showed you Baltimore. I'll play the tape again, but I just showed you Baltimore a couple of weeks ago.
Trump's attack on...
I just showed you Baltimore a couple of weeks ago. Hold on. Same thing everywhere. And when I made this video, I told Baltimore, I said, "Look, Baltimore, I'm not picking on you. I know this is not only you, Baltimore.
Most every morning at Baltimore Collegiate School in our favorite city, the capital of denial, deceit, and delusion, Baltimore, Maryland. The headline is startling. The story is even crazier. 13 high schools in Baltimore. There's not one student, not one, even by accident. Not one is proficient in mathematics. Not one meets the state standards of mathematics. Think about what that means for Baltimore. For Maryland. What are the state standards for math? Do you think they're doing calculus in the 7th grade there? No, they're doing pre-algebra.
And make sure you subscribe to this channel and subscribe to Akintunde Coyote today, because I'm going to start putting a lot of my, my real videos that I got to tell the truth. I put mainly my fluff pieces on Akintunde Coyote Nation, because, black people who want to hear that everything's gravy and that nothing's, and that everything white people fault. But when I gotta really tell them that everything's not white people's fault and that, there's some issues in the community, I put those on here, this channel and the Akintunde Coyote Today channel, okay? So if you really want to, hear, the real, go to subscribe here and subscribe to Akintunde Coyote Today. Link is in the description box.
That's the state standard. We're doing 5 times 5 equals 25 and minus 1 is 24. Those are the state standards that the black people in chocolate schools cannot handle in Baltimore.
Just like D.C., a black female Democratic mayor. You notice in the thing? D.C., black female Democratic mayor, Muriel Bowser. Baltimore, black female Democratic mayor.
Let's let's watch the video right now, and then let's talk about the consequences of this tsunami. Then we're gonna see another version of the tsunami.
Tonight, an alarming discovery coming out of city schools. Our Project Baltimore team has found that 1/3 of high schools in Baltimore last year didn't have any students proficient in math.
So that means 13 different high schools in one city. Okay? 13 high schools. That's 13 different high schools. These high schools got 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 kids, some of them. Some of them 500, but anywhere between 500 and a couple thousand kids in these schools. 13 Baltimore public schools didn't have one student, according to the testing, okay? Not pass, not excel, not had a top flight grade, the bare minimum score in math. Okay? Not one.
Baltimore lead investigative reporter Chris Papps joins us now. And Chris, it took weeks to go through all the data, and the results are really hard to believe.
Well, Kai and Jennifer,
The results are hard to believe. Now, when you look at the situation in D.C., where there was a good story, oh my God, all these schools in D.C., everybody's getting accepted to college. Everybody's graduating. Okay? Now you see what's going on, okay? Now you see? The kids can't do it. These democratically run cities aren't working. The kids are not performing. The only way for there to be a good story, like everybody, it has to be fake. Okay? Now, a year from now, all these kids in Baltimore school passing and getting to the college. Would you believe that? Hell no, because it's going to take more than a year to fix. Okay?
this is stunning. Project Baltimore took a close look at 2017 state testing data and discovered 13 city high schools that had 0 students proficient in math. None. But that's not all we found. Just beyond those troubling numbers, there...
Okay.
More collegiate boys who scored. Statement concludes by saying, there is no simple answer that will close the achievement gap for Baltimore students. Though we all want to see results quickly, the work is hard and will take time. But at Pinnell's school,
Okay. All right. So it's gonna take time. And no, Ballou is not the only school. I bet every DC public school except for Wilson is like this. I guarantee that every DC public school except for Wilson is like this. And Ballou had teachers that were willing to blow the whistle. And these young women are brave because people are going to want to harm them. Black people do not like the truth. So those teachers, those 2 young ladies we saw at the beginning, they better watch their backs. But yeah, it's what it is. It was like this when I was in school. They passed kids that didn't deserve to pass. Okay? You just got moved along. If you don't do it, you're going to have a bunch of 19-year-olds in the 10th grade. You're not going to have enough seats in every classroom for the new kids that's just coming from junior high schools and middle schools. So you have a bunch of 19-year-olds that you had to keep back. So the best thing is to do, I say push them along. Yeah, get them out of your school because most of them are thugs and hoodlums and making fun of kids that want to learn and come there just to smoke cigarettes and back on chicks and, get involved in the gang life within the school because there's a underbelly of gang life in every black school. Every black school has just a neighborhood clique, turf wars going on within the school, because these kids come from the black community, and they come from the neighboring groups that have beef on the street. So it's going to carry over into the school. So I don't have a problem with the teachers, just like, all right, Boo and Man, they ain't, just, if I keep them back, they gonna be, you're gonna have a bunch of 19-year-olds in 10th grade next year. Let me just move these dudes to the damn 11th grade. And then the next year the teacher's like, damn, we gonna have a bunch of 20-year-olds in the 11th grade again. Move them. I mean, like, what do you, I don't blame the teachers. Just get rid of them, But, so the kids that want to learn can learn. Man, you giving up on you. Shit, Tyrone, Man, and Boo Boo catch your ass slipping. They gonna rob you and kill you for your $10. You over here talking about some, man, you can't give up on you, man. Shit, yes the fuck you can. When they catch you slipping, when they run up in your house, they gonna give up on you. All you do-gooder, well-wishing motherfuckers, this shit is real, man. Schools like Ballou, you got real gangsters going to the school. What the fuck are you talking about? Gangsters. Let them niggas pass on and get them the hell out of there. Get in the comment section. Peace.